What's up, everyone? Welcome to Test Your Might, the weekly video game debate show. Join Joe, Cicero, Justin, and myself, Mike, along with some special guests as we debate all things video games. If you would like to support us, please share, subscribe, and leave a review. Now, enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Test Your Might, the #1 debate show. If you can't hear, this is Justin, the Duck Man, the leader today. And we've got two people, our guests here today, not our other hosts, but our guests. We've got a person that asks us a question over here. How you doing today, Cicero?
I ask a question.
Yeah.
Sure. Say hi to your mother for me.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today? How's your mother doing?
She's doing just dandy.
All right. Well, say hi to her for me.
All right, I will. She
All
might
right.
ask why I'm going to Cicero again. That's,
Hey,
we don't live there anymore.
there are great things in Cicero.
And we also have another guest here, Mike. How you doing today?
I don't know what you're talking about. I am a host, and I am not a guest. I'm doing good. Cicero, I do have to apologize, man. I really do. Last episode, and you can quote me on it. You can send me the clip. I said that I would say hi to my mom for you, and I did not. So I gotta apologize.
All right. Well, at least you're honest, and that's okay.
Yeah, I gotta be honest.
That's okay.
I gotta be
You know
honest,
what?
Take
That's
some
okay.
points off of
So
that.
the next time,
Yeah.
next time you ask her how she's doing, and tell her I said hello.
I'll tell her. I'll tell her.
All right.
Yeah,
She's
have
good.
Have
Have
how
some
you
Peter
doing?
Luger sauce. How you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing? Have some Peter Luger sauce.
I need a re-up on the Peter Luger sauce, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, you need some Peter Luger sauce.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
and this is Test Your Might, the #1 video game debate show coming at you.
The #1 Peter Luger sauce debate show.
Yeah, man. Just
you're
let
listening to
me
us
know
on-
when it's shipped.
If you're listening to us on a podcatcher of choice, feel free to leave us a review. 5 stars on our Spotify star program. Get us 100 stars. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching these videos, that's the best way to view us, honestly. Subscribe. Push that little bell. Let us know that you're there. Leave us a comment. Tell us how you like the show. It really helps us out. We're trying to get those 100 subs so we can get that custom link. Just say right at the 90s first instead of having to have all those numbers and digits.
Yeah,
and
right at the watch Y2K7 2K3.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a little
That's what's
housekeeping.
hot though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hot.
Well, it's easier to send those links out for you guys and easier for you to click on them. So we got a little housekeeping. #1, we've got a Speed episode coming up from the 90s first, a review on the 1994 movie starring Keanu Reeves.
Keanu.
And
What will you do?
Keanu Reeves. It's going to be good.
What will you do?
And that should be coming at you later this week, hopefully. We're going to get that out to you guys. That movie did a phenomenal job in the box office, and we're going to...
You guys are a bunch of
on that.
wildcats. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Speed. All right, it's some
go ahead.
story time with Uncle Cicero.
Uncle Cicero.
Let's
Right,
get
so-
Cicero's inside thoughts, high-level
Right,
thoughts
so-
from Cicero.
Story time with Uncle C. I saw Speed in the movies. There are only 2 times. 3 times in my life this has happened, but this was one of them. The first was Aliens. The second was The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But in between those two was Speed, and this is the phenomenon that happened. It was just the second time in my life where a movie was so good, was so incredible, was such an adrenaline ride, that immediately after seeing the movie, I went to my home, found someone, and brought them immediately back to the movie theater to go watch it again.
That's good. That's good.
3 times.
Word of mouth marketing. That's the best way.
Yes.
That's why Game Pass is so good. And back to our housekeeping. Thank you, Cicero, for your story time. Awesome. It
was a
sounds
great
like you
story.
should be on the episode. Yeah.
Right. I've already told my story. That was it. It was over.
Cicero, can you please go somewhere and go get somebody just to join the podcast?
Right. Yeah, this never happened with this podcast. The podcast was so good.
While I was on it, I had to go get somebody. We did make
This
a profile on
podcast
the
is so off the rails. We need somebody else to get it back on.
All right, I'm going to change my background if you don't stop. These ducks are going to attack. All right. So if you're listening, go to YouTube and watch us, because then you know what I'm talking about. But we did make a profile in the GG app where we can make reviews on games we're playing or games that we're going to play, some games that we couldn't finish. And we do want to apologize. We didn't get a review out to you guys yet, but we will be getting that soon. It's a collaboration of all the team here. The games that we're all playing, we're going to get them out to you guys, so you know if it's good before you even start. And then, Cicero, you're working on a lot of things on the side here. You just did an article. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I was interviewed for the Strong Museum, which is the National Museum for Play. So some can call it the Video Games Museum. It is a museum in Rochester that is the repository, the national repository for all things play. So video games, board games, toys, all of the things from our youth that we love, the things that we love as adults, are that are of note and should be remembered, are stored and cataloged in the Strong Museum, the National Museum of Play. Well, I was interviewed for the Journal of Play, and that article just released today, actually.
There we go.
Let's see if I can find the title of the article.
We'll definitely probably leave a link in the description of the video for viewers and listeners alike.
Yeah, for those of you who don't listen or don't read the show notes.
Yeah, so we'll have a link, but the title is The Breakdown, Black Culture, Video Games, and the Importance of Adult Play, which is a conversation between Treyandria, is that?
Yes.
Treyandria and Russworm and our very own Cicero Holmes.
The Mafia Lord himself.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through the article, actually, Cicero, so just honestly, just really good stuff. So really happy to not only see this awesome article that you got to be a part of, but also get to know a little bit more about Stubby Stan. Like, you know,
all right.
It's really awesome. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, and you too can check it out if you go to journalofplay.org, www.journalofplay.org, and then just from there just search in the interviews. You can search for my name.
Yeah,
there we go.
There.
Yeah.
We'll have a direct link down below as well.
All right.
So.
All right, and we'll continue on to the podcast. Unless, Sister, you got a story? No?
No, I don't have a story about my story. You can just read my story.
Yeah.
And then you can tell me stories about my stories.
All right, that sounds like
Then I'm
going to
go get somebody and tell him. Tell him about this story.
So the article was so good. You immediately have to go and grab somebody.
Oh,
so
Justin really hates us when he hosts. Like, you can tell that he's antsy. He's ready to get to the next topic, and then
well, as long as you run, duck quacks. As long as you're really speedy when you go and grab somebody, you'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
What do you do?
It was so funny. Sidebar. I'm totally telling a story. So for setting up like graphics and stuff for the speed episode that we're doing, I was finding the fonts and everything, and I searched like speed font, like what is the font that they use in the logo, so I could download it and use it.
Right.
And one of I ended up on Reddit, and there was a Reddit question that said, "What is the speed font?" And somebody responded, yada yada. It's probably close to this font, yada yada, whatever. Somebody replied to that. They were like, "If you use this font, and type less than 60 words per minute, your computer will explode.
That's right.
Hey, spoiler.
I was dying.
Right. Listen, Wildcat. What do you do?
All right, we're going to continue our question of the week. Favorite game by a specific developer or publisher. Today it's...
What do you do?
Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Cicero, what do you choose for Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment?
Speed, the video game.
No. I didn't see that one.
I think Speed was 20th Century Fox anyway.
Right. So so what I won't do is make Mike upset right off the bat. So
it's all right. I'll say the same game. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah, it's your favorite, so if it's both your favorites, then that's how it is.
No, well, man.
Which
I'm
Arkham
making
are
a
you gonna, which
funny
Arkham are you
face
gonna
right
use?
now. No, I'm not gonna use Arkham. Making a real funny face right now because I'm. Oh man, this is such a hard choice. So, if I say Mad Max, will somebody say Lord of the Rings?
I can't say yes or no to that question.
I'll go first. It's Arkham City. Arkham City is my favorite WB game of all time. Yeah, it's
That's a great
voice acting, like Kim Conroy, like Mark Hamill, like the story of Joker and Batman just continuing in this amazing trilogy. Yeah, Arkham City, my favorite WB game of all time.
I'll go second just to put all the pressure on Cicero to choose one. I'm going to choose a small title that doesn't have Lord of the Rings in it. And there's a lot of Lego games that I could have chose, but this game really hit me in a spot that not a lot of games do. This is going to be a 2012 title called Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. Great
zombie
game.
killing cheerleader.
Great game.
Gore, humor, phenomenal game. A little missed title that a lot of people didn't play.
Oh, man. What a great game.
And Cicero, now it's on to you for one title of your choosing.
All right. Fine. Shadow of Mordor. Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. That's the game. The Nemesis system, incredible. I could have gone with Mad Max. They did a great job of recreating.
Yes.
Yeah, did a great job of recreating that Arkham-style battle fight mechanic while still driving. But the Nemesis system is revolutionary, and no one has been able to duplicate it in anywhere close to being
But like,
as impactful.
Has anybody even tried?
If Burnout were to come back and they were to twist it with Twisted Metal, maybe. But honestly, they're not going to hit that point.
Well,
Mad
that's
Max
the
did.
thing. Like, Cicero, you can speak to this as well because you've been covering video games for longer than me. But like everybody, when the Nemesis system came around, everybody was talking about how like it's going to be the new system. It's going to infiltrate every single video game, and like nobody has tried.
Right. And I think it's because it was too good, right? Like no one could figure out a way to implement it in a way that not only made sense for their game, but was markedly different from the way that it was introduced and utilized in Shadow of Mordor, and in the sequel. So, like, if we can't do anything different, then why are we going to try it when it's something as specific as this thing? And also, like, are we going to be able to build our characters to be dynamic enough for this system to actually make sense?
Yeah.
Right? You could definitely use it in some of these open world games where you're fighting hordes of, legions of
Oh, I completely agree.
ads. Right?
I think, and the rumor has it is that they're doing the Nemesis system for the Wonder Woman game because it's the same developer. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the next category without a story this time. What have you guys been playing? Cicero, go ahead.
Let me tell you a story about Sifu.
You've been
I've
playing
Sifu.
Sifu? Yeah.
I've been
Are
playing.
you liking
wanna
it?
hear
It's
about it.
difficult.
I am really liking Sifu. It is a real struggle. It is tough. It is.
How many times have you aged out yet?
I've not aged out yet.
What age are you?
I am only taking tiny morsels. I am
okay.
36 right now. And I think I'm on the second boss. It is definitely a very tough game. You start to learn some of the mechanics as you're progressing and losing. For those of you who don't know what Sifu is, it's a martial arts game. It's kind of like a roguelike, but it's not really. It's a very linear game. It's a roguelike like Hades in so much that you can finish the game in less than an hour. Once you're proficient at the game.
Yeah, it's not procedurally created.
Right.
It's all set, so you can learn it.
So it's linear. You can learn it. All the enemies are going to be in the exact same space. The hook is that every time you die, you age up. It's a revenge tale. You age up. The more often you die at a particular point, the higher your age counter goes up.
Yes.
So the first time you die, instead of going, you die at 21, you become 22. The next time you'll be 24, and then you keep going.
Yeah.
Once you hit 70, the next time you die, you're dead. But you can reduce the amount of ages or the amount of years you lose per death when you hit certain accomplishments or what have you. And then there are certain upgrades that you have that you can make permanent through more playthroughs, and certain secrets and shortcuts that you can unlock by getting different things. But it really boils down to just really great mechanics, a great animation style, really innovative gameplay, and very tough, sometimes frustrating, but really, really clever mechanics and a super fun game.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
I haven't had money to grab it on the PS4, but I'm planning to.
Yeah, so I'm playing Sifu. I'm also playing Lost Ark.
Oh, okay.
I just got into Lost Ark. I'm super early in that game. I think I'm like level 10 or 11 or something like that. But that's a free-to-play Diablo-like game. A bunch of my friends are playing, so I decided to give it a shot. Let's see.
Lost Ark's going crazy, dude. It's like it hit over 100 or it hit over 1 million concurrent players on Steam when it went free to play.
It's free to it's free to play now. So, the one game that I wanted to play that I haven't been able to play is Crossfire X. So we've gone through what's new that I've been playing.
Yeah, just skip that one.
That's it. So that's what I've been playing.
Have not heard good things about Crossfire X.
Well, they did remove it, so
they removed it?
Yeah, they removed it because the campaign was not free for Game Pass subscribers.
I think it was
supposed to be. Well, there's 2 campaigns, and the first one was supposed to be free, and the other one was $10.
Yeah, I think they just messed up the SKUs.
I've also heard it's very bad. Go ahead, Mike. What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing Crossfire. No, I'm just kidding.
You want to tell me a story about what you've been playing?
Yeah. So I have been on I have a note on my phone of all the games that I would like to play and beat, and I've just been playing through them. To be honest, it's been a blast and thoroughly enjoying it. So, I think last we talked, I think I did mention that I beat the Halo campaign. Since then, I have beat Inscription, and what a game! Like, holy cow, go play it, purchase it. It's really cheap. Game share with a friend who's already purchased it.
Right? Is that a full-on endorsement of playing that game, irrespective of your feelings on the genre?
Yes.
No, it's the first roguelike card deck builder that I've enjoyed. And
Okay.
So I wouldn't
I played it all the way
call
to
it
the
a
end.
I wouldn't call it a roguelike. But it has elements of like figuring out progress and then going into the next run and getting further. But I don't know if I would call it a roguelike, but regardless, like I still think that once you get the mechanics down, I still think it's like a crazy enough story that I literally could not stop playing it.
Yep.
I just wanted to finish it and figure out what the freak is going on. And so, yeah, I think it's I almost think it's a must play for a lot of people who enjoy good storytelling.
Yeah.
Also, Justin, I don't know if you knew about this, but there is a mod that the developer is creating, Daniel Mullins Games. He's creating a mod that is basically just the just a harder version of the beginning of the game. So like just only that part. So it's called Casey's Mod. So it's just you're just playing the beginning parts of that game. It's basically makes it into like a Slay the Spire type deal. So yeah, I checked that out as well. It's in really, really beta, like super beta. It's not overly buggy from what I've seen, but yeah, certainly good, certainly fun. And so after Inscription, I went into Psychonauts. Back into Psychonauts, I knew I was only a couple hours away from beating that, so I ended up beating that. And again, what an incredible game. Psychonauts, the original. Yeah. I was messaging you guys and to all the listeners, I ran into a glitch that has been in the game since 2005. And literally I went into the last level, and there's an equipment item called the cobweb duster, the mental cobweb duster that you need in order to progress through the game. And for some reason it was out of my inventory, and I had bought it hours ago. And so I legitimately had to reload a previous save, go back and collect 800 coins again. And mind you, I was under 100. So I had to collect 800 again to buy the cobweb duster again. I went back to the level that I was at, saved just in case this happened again, so that I could just reload the save. But it all worked out. And then, I'm excited to get into Psychonauts 2, but something has taken its place. I didn't think I was going to go straight into Psychonauts 2, but I decided to play Outer Wilds. Friend of the show, Sean Ruggs, one of his favorite games.
Yes.
That's that one that's out in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's out of this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won that UK award, I remember.
Yeah. Yes.
So the reason why I told, I was talking to Sean about this. I was like, I don't know what game I'm going to play next, but I'm going to surprise you. I told him I'm going to give Outer Wilds a try. I've heard that the flight mechanics are like extremely hard to get behind, and so if I don't like the mechanics, I'll just stop it and move on. Well, it freaking hooked me, man. I figured out the flight mechanics. I want to know what the story's about. Like, I am hooked on Outer Wilds, and Sean, thank you for constantly recommending the game, because it is a blast. It is a time loop game as well, and I did not know that. At one point in the game, this huge white star, like planet, just engulfed me and killed me, and I was like, what is going on? And yeah, it's amazing. Play Outer Wilds. It's on Game Pass.
You obviously did not listen to our explanation.
Yeah, our awesome debate we had, because we definitely mentioned, implosion of a star and
absolutely
all kinds of stuff.
loops.
We knew exactly what it was about.
Yeah, knew exactly what it was about. Justin, what have you been playing?
I will talk when I'm ready to talk, being the host tonight.
That's right.
You should sit down, Michael.
All right, Cicero, so let's get into the news.
You're out of order.
Yeah,
let's get into the news, Cicero. GTA 6 is in the works.
Well, honestly, I've been playing not a lot. I haven't had a lot of time to play games. I have picked up Apple Arcade, though. That's a new feature on Apple phones. I had 3-month trial for free, and then it's $4.99 every month after that. And I've been playing Balloons Tower Defense. I don't know if you've ever played that. Just a tower defense game where you play as monkeys popping balloons. And then,
like Super Monkey Ball?
Well, it's like a tower defense. Well, they are. They're not in balls. They're just like different types of monkeys. They throw darts at balloons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I decided, I'm going to pick up, shout out to DK Oldies, which is a website that you can buy old school games from.
Yeah.
And I picked up, I don't know why I did this to myself, but I picked up Clay Fighter. And wanted
64 or
the original Super Nintendo. And I wanted a rematch against my female counterpart, and it was a bad idea.
Did she destroy you again?
No comment.
Do you still have a Super Nintendo?
She does. Mine's packed
awesome.
away. So yeah, we played that. Other than that, just checking out this Apple Arcade thing. There's no ads, there's no microtransactions in all these games. They're just you pay the $4.99 and you play as much as you want. And it's nice to play a phone game and not have an ad pop up.
Grindstone. Play Grindstone. Mm-hmm.
Are they these games are different from the games that are in the App Store?
Correct. Yes, these are specific games for Apple Arcade that some of them feel like there would be like a pay to continue kind of feature. Like I was playing Lego Star Wars Castaways, which is a specific game for Apple Arcade, and it seems like some things would feel like there should be a microtransaction, and they just remove that feature to make it free to play.
Sure.
But enjoying everything I've played so far. Great games. We'll go right into news now.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So Cicero, GTA.
Mike's going to hate test your might with the unfair balance going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
GTA
right. If
6.
I lose, I lose.
That's not what you were saying before the show started.
Yeah.
So GTA 6 was announced in the works. Takes. What do you feel? When you guys are like 40 years older, you'll finally receive the game. But how you looking into it? You gonna get it when it does show up?
Oh,
ahead,
I'm
Cicero.
definitely gonna play it.
Oh. Yeah. Who are you talking to? You talking to me? You talking to?
Mike has been put on in the corner. It's all you, Cicero.
Okay, yeah. All right, fine, yeah. So, let me tell you a story about GTA 6. I don't know when I'm going to play it, right?
40 years.
Will I be able to beam the game directly
Into your
to
head.
my house or into my brain by the time the game is released? When it comes out, if I'm alive, I'll play it, right? That's really what it boils down to. There hasn't been a Grand Theft Auto game that I haven't absolutely loved. I haven't absolutely been amazed by. There's lots of controversy, and there are lots of complaints that can be levied at the guys at Rockstar, and a lot of it is well deserved and well earned. But what is also well earned and well deserved is lauding them for pushing the envelope and really kind of redefining what open world games are, what games are en masse.
Yeah.
Just because they hearken in a new generation of games that, as it stands, the latest Grand Theft Auto game is
13.
13. It came out in 2013, right? Like it's almost 10 years old,
Yeah.
right? Right? Like it's just a shade under 10 years old, and and it is still almost light years ahead of some of the other open world games that are coming out right now.
Yeah.
So I fully expect that GTA 6 will do to the games industry what GTA 5 and GTA 4 and 3 and San Andreas and Vice City have done to their respective portions of the games industry.
Completely agree. We'll touch base on the controversy a little later. Mike, do you think you could predict what year it will come out?
2026.
That was my guess. Good job.
Yeah.
You're out of the corner now.
Okay, sounds good.
How do you feel? You're gonna play it?
Yeah, let me tell you a story. I haven't played GTA 5 since basically 2013, 2014, whenever I beat the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I know me, Justin, and some friends back in the day dabbled in online. I know Justin went hardcore online, but I didn't. But that was back in the day. So, like, I haven't played GTA 5 in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And GTA 5, from my recollection, is one of the best campaigns that I've ever played. Story-wise, gameplay-wise. And I'm talking about a 360 game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy for me to say this, but I might even replay the campaign when the next gen version comes out of GTA 5, just because I'm really like, it's not that I need to play it again, but rather it's more so that sitting there playing on my Series X on my big TV, like it's just how I want a game nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And so, maybe re-experiencing that story will be good. And so I have the utmost confidence that GTA 6 will be great. I really do. Everybody loved Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, it's the same studio. Like, everybody's gonna like GTA 6. I'm kind of interested what they're gonna do with their online community. I think that's another story, another debate for another day. We'll see what they do, but yeah, GTA 6 must play for me.
Yeah, agree.
You will not play GTA 5 when it comes to new consoles. You may purchase it, but you won't play it.
I mean,
honestly,
sure?
Not very many
Challenge
games.
accepted.
Not very many games have been in my thoughts this long. After its initial release, I 100%ed the story twice in this game, and I'm still thinking I want to go back and play the story again because of how great and captivating it was. The storytelling.
Dude, I remember
good.
you wasn't that second playthrough all first person too. I think you played it all first person when the Xbox One version
that
came out.
completely changes the game. Like it really, like, there's a level. I forgot who said it, but I also mirrored what they had to say about it. But like, it really changes. It really makes it more visceral, right? Because it's not like you, the character, shooting a random pedestrian, right? In first person, you're shooting the pedestrian.
That immersion level goes up to 100. For sure.
Yeah, and that is like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Like, I'm horrible.
Yeah.
I'm just not looking
excited.
forward to there's a mission that you have to do where you trek through the desert for I don't know, like 10 miles, and it tracks you, and if you step out you have to restart. And I did that in first person the second time, and that is a long time to sit there and just run through wilderness and then turn around and do the same strip again to get that 100%.
Weren't you in underwear or something with that? Was that a hallucination thing?
No, you're wearing just tighty whities.
Yeah. I remember that mission. And and that's from 2013. That's how good that game was.
That's how good it was, right?
Yeah, the immersion level definitely peaked when they added that first person, and it's going to get even better. So let's jump into our next topic. Netflix has been partnering with Take-Two to make a Bioshock movie. And they haven't really released a lot of details other than, the cover art, which looks like the first game. Netflix is pretty quick with coming out with stuff. Do you think it's going to do good? This is one of my favorite games.
Well, let me just say I'm shocked.
And cancel.
All right. No, full disclosure, when I saw this announcement, I added the Bioshock series to my list of games to play because I have never played them.
I've been telling you for years.
I know. So it's definitely something that it's going to be on my mind. to play here soon. The one thing that I have heard, like the discourse around this, is that just like Netflix like kind of just like churns out things so much, and like there's a lot of Bioshock fans that just like really hope that Netflix does a good job with this, you know, and takes their time, and yeah, churns out a good story. The other thing that I've heard is that like there's so much lore building and so much in the original Bioshock to make it just a 2-hour movie is going to be hard. So I think a lot of people wanted a television series, which, I mean, us three are in agreement a lot of times with that we just like, why don't you just put out a TV series? It's just better story building, better character development. But I don't know. Cicero, what you got?
I take my instructions and directions from Justin.
Thank you very much, Cicero.
Yeah.
He's trying to win the battles tonight. Cicero, you played the Bioshock games?
Yeah, I played the first one. I haven't even played Bioshock 2, which is the good one.
It's the long one.
Right. When it comes to Netflix doing this movie, I've got to talk and tell a story about a guy named Uwe Boll.
Okay.
Do you guys know who Uwe Boll is?
No.
He is a movie director.
Okay.
And he has directed such films as Blood Rain and Postal and House of the Dead and
Good stuff.
some other really like, so his thing was he took video game properties because the licenses were cheap, and he made the worst movies possible out of these, so that they would lose money, which would allow him to make money somehow or something like that. He like bet against himself. But he just kept churning out these films, and they're so bad they're bad, right? Like, so like that's where the comedy is that they're not even so bad they're good, they're so bad they're bad that you're like, how does this guy keep making these films? But you know, definitely go check them out because they're horrible. You have to see it.
Great recommendation.
But so I only bring up Uwe Boll to say that to what Mike was saying about Netflix kind of churning stuff out, I don't think Netflix is going to Uwe Boll themselves with films. Now, Netflix has gotten to the point where they are making like direct-to-video quality films, and they're putting it on their service that are just really bad, you know, bad quality, bad writing, bad acting, low budgets. They're throwing those on there. I don't think that they're going to take a license where they're partnering with a group and have a licensed property and not at least attempt to make a passable film out of it. So I do think that the Bioshock film will be decent and will be thoughtful, but I also think that Bioshock fans will hate it because it exists in the age of the internet, and fans will hate the thing that they didn't make. They will actually hate the thing that they do make because the first reaction is, I hate it. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I hate it. Right? So I do think it'll be okay, objectively.
You know, in my opinion, Bioshock is a morality story, also the sci-fi first-person shooter story. So if they were to come up with something original but use some of the lore, I think they could do a good job. The problem is I wish it would have been a show, just like Mike, and you agree. I feel like the lore is so massive that they could have implicated it a lot more instead of shoving it all into a 2-hour movie. And
well, yeah, we don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, they could do a 2-parter. It could be one movie. Maybe they're successful in giving us an exposition drop.
Yeah,
who knows? I believe that they will not try to give us just anything. I think they'll be thoughtful about it. I just don't think that people, the true fans of the games, will be excited about the product they receive.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite games, like I said, so I'll be a judge of the hardest critic watching it for sure.
You'll hate it.
Maybe.
You'll hate it.
Maybe.
You'll hate it.
Are you guys ready?
Ready to hate it.
Well, that concludes our news and leads us into Test Your Might, the namesake of the show.
That's right.
Mike, are you ready to direct that attention?
I hate it.
Okay. Let's jump back a little bit here and talk about GTA and how it was announced. One of the quotes in the blasted Twitter that blew up was, "With every new project, our goal is always significantly to move beyond what we've previously delivered." So I want you guys to pitch a location that you want the new GTA to be in and what aspects would push the boundaries of our current generation. So since Mike was so mouthy earlier, I'm going to give it to Cicero first. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. So the new location for this new GTA will be, what are they going to call it? I think they'll call it Solo Star.
Okay.
It will be Rockstar's approximation of the great state of Texas.
Okay. I'll stop you there. Go ahead, Mike. Give us your location first, and then we'll go back to Cicero for details.
Mine will be GTA 6, the Outback, the whole island country of Australia.
Okay. Cicero, go ahead. Flush it out. How's it going to push the boundaries?
So how's it going to push the boundaries? So one of the things that you love personally about your favorite GTA, San Andreas, is how they incorporate the three main areas of San Andreas into making a massive, massive universe. One of the great things about GTA 5 is their version of San Andreas and how they have not necessarily different biomes, but they do have like different locations where you've got desert and you've got the mountains and you've got the city and you've got the ocean. You've got all of those things surrounding it. This is what Solo Star will be, or whatever they wind up calling it, Texas, whatever amalgamation of Texas it is you're going to have so many little big cities and then big cities in it, right? Because you're going to get your version of Dallas Fort Worth. You're going to get your version of Houston. You're going to get your version of San Antonio. You're also going to get your version of Austin. Plus, you're going to get Mexico down by the border. So that's where all your drugs are going to come in and all of your, smuggling and all that other stuff. But then you're also going to have smuggling and things happening from the Gulf of Mexico. We'll probably get weather events like giant hurricanes that will be in like that Houston, whatever that Houston area is. Maybe sometimes you'll wind up getting snow up in the Dallas area. And there's going to be so many different things that you'll have. Plus, the wildlife that you'll get is going to be real strange. Armadillos. There'll probably be legends about a chupacabra. There's so many different things that they can incorporate into that section, plus all the flying that you can do.
All right.
Great.
We've got Solo Star over here with Cicero and the Chupacabra. Go ahead, Mike. How is the Outback going to top that? Or push back, whatever you'd like to do.
One of the things that I think that is overdone in the GTA series is just America in general. So it would be awesome to kind of explore a different country, a different people group, a different style of living, really. And that's what Australia could bring. But also it could bring, as Cicero mentioned, Texas wouldn't not necessarily have different biomes, whereas Australia would. And talking about wildlife, I think wildlife is crazy out there. I mean, you could have snakes be an issue. You can have the ocean life, like sharks and stuff. Like I just think that you have the different styles of wildlife that can creep into the story as well. I think one of the cool things about GTA as well is that it is one of the best sandboxes ever, and just the ability to drive any car that you want throughout the outback, as well as the different diverse cities as well. Like you got Sydney, Australia, and you got all that stuff there too that you could play with the story and stuff. I think Australia would be cool. It'd be awesome to explore a different people group, like instead of just America. I know that it might be hard to to satire something other than America, because we're so satirical in nature. But if anybody could do it, it's Rockstar.
All right,
rebuttal it. Mike, it's so funny how I was going to make an argument, but you make my arguments for me, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So you talked about Australia and the outback, and I understand why you say that, but then you already answered the question of why it won't be the outback, right? It has always been America, with the exception of London. It has been America because not only is GTA about open world and kind of doing whatever you want, but it's also about a satire. It's also about a commentary on a hyper-realized version of the thing that we know best. And the thing that we know best is American culture. And it has always kind of pointed its finger back at American culture and made fun of it in very intelligent ways. That won't play as well for with it being Australia, because we don't understand the nuances of Australia in the way that Australians understand the nuances of American culture, right? In the way that the rest of the world understands the nuances of American culture. Now, they may not get all of the jokes, but they get enough of the jokes that they're in on it and makes GTA work and work well. Now, what you're missing is that, where have we been in GTA? We've been to New York City, right? We've been to Miami, we've been to California, been back to New York City, back to California. Where haven't we been, right? We haven't been to the Midwest, right? Which we could do that, but there have already been games set in Chicago. There have been no games set in Texas. And Texas is humongous, right? And what does Rockstar do great with their open world games is we give you huge swaths of land. Mm-hmm. When you take a look at the map, you're like, holy crap, what is going on here? How can they do this, right? So then what they're going to do is they're going to take the biggest state by area in our republic, and they're going to populate it with stuff. You're going to have multiple big cities, and you're going to have all of these small towns where you're driving through, where you're going to have a whole bunch of places that look like where what's his name lived in, with the trailer parks, and
Trevor.
And then you're going to have and then you're going to have like suburbs and not suburbs and the sticks, and then there's going to be so much that you'll be able to see, plus the weather effects, like all of these things that they're going to add, like all of the things that you're actually talking about with the Outback, they can incorporate in Texas, in their amalgamation of Texas. And it makes more sense because, here's the other point, that you're just going to lose you the debate. GTA Online will incorporate San Andreas and this new area. And in order for those to be compatible, they have to be in the same country.
All right, strong words from Cicero. You got a fight back, Mike? Maybe show how yours is going to be a huger push. Oh, great.
No, he's got it.
Down. Cicero
he took my answer. I had to fall back to something, and I tried. So.
Okay, well, Forza Horizon 2.
Really?
Oh,
Texas.
Oh yeah, Texas is the obvious choice. But then I was thinking about arguing Chicago, but like, I mean, they've done New York. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just, I know New York is a different beast than Chicago, but still, it would have been too.
It's not my idea, but it was good, Cicero, and we'll leave mine for another day.
All right. Oh man, I'm so curious. Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump into the next one. This is an interesting little question based on our developer/publisher of the week. Pitch a movie or game series that should be Lego-fied, and why is it better than your opponents? Mike, you lost. You get first pick.
Cicero can go first.
All right.
Okay.
The torch has been handed. Cicero, do you run with it?
Yeah. Game or was it
or
so movie or
yeah.
game? Movie or game series that should be Lego-fied? Let's stay with WB and say that this franchise needs a little bit of redemption, and go with The Matrix.
Okay. Mike, you got an answer? You want him to defend his a little bit?
If you are watching the video version, there is a potential that you might see where I'm going. But we should have a Godzilla Lego series.
Okay. All right. Mike, go ahead. You
Also sticking with WB.
Yeah. Mike, you had first pick, so go ahead and defend yours first.
Yeah, I mean...
Or beat down his, whichever you'd like. Or eat his with Godzilla. Whatever.
Actually, no. I'm gonna take his throat and open it, and I just go ah. No, I mean, when you were a kid, and you had a bunch of Legos.
Okay.
You built them up, and you tore them down. And it was super fun to tear them down and rebuild something. It would create more imagination. But one of the things that would be cool about a Lego Godzilla series is going into a completely Lego-fied city as Godzilla and being able to tear it down. And then maybe, just maybe, you have a human element to it. You play as the humans, and you could build back up these territories. You kind of have this like synergized relationship between you and Godzilla as you're fighting and tearing down buildings and going through the destruction of Hong Kong, wherever you want Godzilla to be. It just seems fun. Like just watching one of the best things about the Lego games is seeing just the things destroyed and all the Legos popping everywhere, and then you have to like rebuild or something like that. I think it would be super fun to have fights that are Lego-fied against like Mecha Godzilla, or even against Kong. You could throw Kong in there or whatever. Man, it would be so fun to just to be able to destroy a Lego-fied city as the king of monsters, fighting off his enemies. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
So for your Godzilla, would it incorporate the movies, or would it just be a unique storyline with Godzilla and Lego?
I think it would be. I think it would incorporate the movies. Like start off like you are Godzilla, you are destroying cities, you are the king of monsters, and then eventually the humans or whatever, the Lego people, start understanding what Godzilla is all about, and like you could rebuild, kind of work with Godzilla to fight these monsters. And maybe there's a mission. Maybe there's a mission where you are the human and you're trying to rebuild and do these things while Godzilla is fighting the monster that he's fighting in the background or whatever. You're trying to work with Godzilla to save the city. Yeah.
Yeah, viewers and listeners alike, when Mike is excited about something. Cicero, same question to you. Would you incorporate the movies in your Matrix, and why does it beat Godzilla off the top pedestal?
Well, yes, I would incorporate the movies into my Matrix. Just think about this. Think about that scene in the first film. It's Trinity. It's Neo. They're at the bottom of the building. They go through the metal detector and they pull out all of their guns and they start shooting everybody, but they're like plunger guns. So every time they hit somebody, it'll just be a plunger in their face or in their gut, and they pop apart.
So you're keeping the family element to it.
Yeah, keeping the family element to it. But also just think about all of the plunger darts that are going to be flying their way that hit like the sides of the walls that will all become Lego pieces that you can collect. And then Trinity is doing flips and Neo is doing all sorts of jump things, and you get the bullet time. You could jump, but you're in midair and the cameras spin around you, but you're still in air. Shout out to Will Smith. But that is part of it, right? Like, you're going to be able to go through elements of the movies as Lego pieces, doing all of the goofy things that happen in the movie. Whoa. Imagine the Lego piece doing the whoa. But not only that, right? And here's an element that I'm not even sure how Mike is going to recreate. He'll talk about it because I mentioned it, but he really won't have an answer for this. And this is something that you'll really resonate with, Duck. Is one of the great things about Lego games. I know you love Lego games. Part of the reason that you love Lego games is not only because they're fun and evocative of franchises that you know well, but it's also because you can sit down with your daughter and play these games, and she can just jump in and play them for a little while, and if she gets bored of playing them, she could drop the controller and go away. And that's cool. It's that co-op element. It's that drop and drop out element of it. And that's what the Matrix is all about. Neo never really was by himself, right? Most of the time when he was in these battles, he was in those battles with other people. And this game, this Lego game, will give you the opportunity to have Trinity by your side, or as you unlock more characters, maybe you'll get the Oracle be sitting next to you, or maybe even some of the characters from the new movies, right? Maybe this series can make the new movie not as bad.
Okay. Mike, that's strong words, high thoughts against that. Do you have an answer for that question? Or if you don't want to answer it, then go on to something.
I mean, first of all, I believe Godzilla, as far as recent movies, has a lot more goodwill than The Matrix. Going back to the original Matrix, that's the only good one, as far as I'm concerned. Haven't watched 2 and 3 recently, so maybe I'll rewatch them. But regardless, Godzilla is in a good spot in media. Second, talk about co-op. Like, literally, the pantheon of Godzilla movies has Godzilla working with people like Mothra, people like the son of Godzilla, people like King Ghidorah he even works with to defeat Mechagodzilla, stuff like that. You have those co-op elements. And plus, the Lego movie, the Lego games have evolved in a way that if you're doing co-op, one person could be the humans that are trying to help Godzilla win the fight, and then the other person could be Godzilla in the fight as well, or even 2 monsters could be battling another monster or whatever. You could write your own story. Monsters can team up. Godzilla can have some friends. thought that the co-op thing was going to be a nail in the dagger. Sorry, that's a reference.
Nail in the dagger.
Yeah, that's
yes.
a reference from old friends. That's a reference from old friends. Sorry, but it really isn't, because there are those forms. And I thought of this idea as I was listening to your argument, and I want to pitch it to you guys. I think it would be extremely funny, because the Lego movies are all about fun, and they're funny. And I think of the mumble mode, where the original Lego games were all mumble. There wasn't voice acting or anything. And what would be cool is that in the Godzilla ones, you can bring back kind of like a hybrid one, where you have this like mumble going on, and then like 3 seconds later, you have the actual voice saying the words. Oh, it's Godzilla. That type of thing. It'd be kind of fun in the Lego kind of aspect. You kind of mix the mumble and the new age with actual voice acting. I think it'd be really fun, a funny video game. And yeah, I think what is really selling this to Justin, because I know he's going to pick me, is that you're Godzilla and you get to destroy a city, and just to see this whole city just kind of be blanketed in Lego pieces just sounds like super fun to me, and a really, really good idea. So
I can see, I know coming out of GTA talk, the character switching, going from zooming in on Godzilla over his shoulder and destroying a city to a person on the street screaming and running away, or switching to another monster that's fighting Godzilla, whatever. I do see it happening. Cicero, any final words?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, here's the thing. You're talking about Godzilla, and you're talking about co-op, but you're also talking about people. I'm thinking about co-op, right? And I'm sitting and I'm playing this game with someone, right? It's Lil Bro and Lil Sis sitting down and playing this game, and only one of them gets to be Godzilla, and only one of them gets to do all the destruction. And I can guarantee that the other one is not going to be happy about the lack of destruction that they were personally responsible for, when the other person has been responsible for it. And if that is the case, right, then you're going to wind up having a fight and not a fun time. Whereas maybe you aren't Neo, right? Maybe you're playing as Morpheus, but you're still playing. You guys are still out there kicking the agents' butts and doing the things and all the action set pieces and running through the train and flying through the air, or jumping on the highway, fighting the twins. You're doing those things together, and you're both equally powered to get the Lego pieces and to get your friends and to hang out and have a good time. It's all about that high five, not the fisticuffs. Mike, you are here. You're an agent of war. I'm an agent of peace.
I'm going to call it. Mike, great arguments. I do feel Cicero when he said that your siblings will be fighting over Godzilla. That is the namesake of the game, when Neo is, in a sense, replaceable by Trinity or Morpheus. And I feel like that would be a much easier pop in and pop out co-op experience that would make everyone happy. I do see an open world element between the movies and in a city, a singular city, and I see it working very well. And I'm going to give it to Cicero.
He does it again.
That was the wrong choice, but okay.
Well, that's what happens when I'm the host and you're just a guest.
We're all hosts. Stop calling me a guest.
So on to the next topic here. Little name here of a game coming out shortly here, the same day as Elden Ring, actually, on the 24th of February. This game is called Martha is Dead, and I don't know if you guys know about it, but it is a psychological horror-based game set in the 40s in Italy, and it is terrifying and gruesome, and apparently Sony did not like that, and they put a ban on it, a copyright. or not copyright, censorship on it, sorry. And I want to know if that's right. Should games like this or GTA be censored? Or are they rated for a reason? They have an entry rating level. And Mike, you lost again. You get first dibs. Do you want to say they should be banned? Or are they rated for a reason and they should stay the way they are?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Cicero might agree with me on this, so we'll see if there's
He's
an
going to have
actual
to
argument.
fight the opposite, so...
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there should not be a censor on the games. It is the artist's creative freedom to create the game that they want to create, and it is up to parents. It is up to people who are more knowledgeable about subject matters of these games to teach and speak into the lives of those who are younger that should not be playing these games. But that does not mean that a platform holder such as Sony should censor something for players who are of the mature age to be playing this game. People should be informed. They should be allowed to make their own decision to play a certain game based on the material that is within it. It is not right to stop the creative process for anything that goes in any medium. Like, I do believe in creating an environment that you believe is safe for the people that are around you, but that does not mean that you can't make your own decisions. Sony shouldn't be doing this. I think Xbox and PC or Steam rather are in the right here. Like, that it is their creative process. Like, now I do believe that there might be a certain level to this. Maybe
you can't say that. You know that you can't say there's a level. You're defending that there shouldn't be censorship.
Excuse me. Let me talk.
All right. Well, Cicero's going to use it against you, so go ahead.
I mean, sure. Whatever. I mean, I do believe that there maybe needs to be a level in certain ratings. Let me talk here, Justin, right. And then maybe you don't have to interrupt.
Stop my time. All right, go ahead.
Maybe there should be a certain level of ratings that is above mature, where there are these games that can be rated specifically for certain things. Maybe that's the case, but in this particular instance, no. This is the developer's game. It's their creative freedom. Sony shouldn't have done it.
What a save! Go ahead, Cicero.
Don't interrupt me next time.
So, all that jibber jabber, I heard these two things. It reminded me of these two things. The first is, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. The second is, it's not fair. And so I'll address the first. Well, first, I'll say, not only can it be banned, but it's happened before. It happens all the time. So, like, who cares, right? This is a story because it's a slow news day, right? Like, it's a thing that happened, sure, but it's not a story, right? It's a thing that happened. It happened, right? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about history. The name of this show is Test Your Might. That phrase was chosen because it came from a game. That game was Mortal Kombat. This game, along with a couple of other games, but this game in particular, created ratings in the video game space, was responsible for the inspiration for the ESRB, what became the ESRB and the games rating board, domestically and internationally other games rating boards. Congress saw this game with blood and realistic looking characters in which the victor could maim and mutilate their opponent, and thought it was the harbinger of terrible things to come. And the game, of course, was an overnight success, spawned plenty of sequels and movies and what have you, but it also was fast-tracked to home gaming consoles. And the two home gaming consoles that were dominant of the time were the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and the Genesis, the Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nintendo decided that their version of Mortal Kombat would not include blood and would not include fatalities. And Sega decided they would include blood and they would include fatalities. Then there was rumors, and it turns out that there was a code for the Nintendo versions where you could get the blood, but the fatalities were very different, and that's where the babalities came from and all of the friendships and all that other stuff, right? Well, that game, one console manufacturer decided, no, we don't want that content. We want the game, right? We want to receive notoriety and give our consumers the ability to purchase that game so that we can make money off of it. But we don't want our consumers to see the blood and the gore and the stuff like that. We want to be able to play, to serve two masters in a way so that we can keep the parents happy and the ESRB happy, and Nintendo, the fact that Nintendo didn't want any M-rated games on their console, keep those things happy, furthering the thought and the idea and the reputation that Nintendo was a family-friendly console, and Sega with the Genesis was courting a completely different demographic. They wanted the teenagers. They wanted the cool kids. And so they that's where all the blood and guts should be, because that's where the cool kids and the more adult kids are going to be. And Sony has decided, hey, you know what? They've looked at the content and they said, hey, you know, this is a little creepy. This is a little, you know. But Sony, if you were looking at both the console manufacturers a few years ago, you would have said that Microsoft is closer to Nintendo than the Sega, and that Sony is closer to Sega than they are to Nintendo. But that's not how it worked in this particular instance. And Sony has decided that, you know, there's some content on here that's a little so we're not going to put it on our game. But if you want that content, they got another console. There's another console that's got that content. You go ahead and you can play it over there.
So, but what you're missing with your long soliloquy and your long monologue is that Nintendo literally, the second game, Mortal Kombat 2, had blood. So they realized that they made the poor decision in not allowing blood on their console in the original place. They lost the sales to Genesis, and
Right.
and as you know, you're a
Right.
historian in that matter, Sega pushed ahead and they pulled ahead. The Genesis did, specifically to the SNES for a time. And that was partly because of Mortal Kombat and their ability to have better graphics. Sony's going to do what they want to do. They're going to censor this, whatever. And certainly your argument is right. Just go play it on the Xbox if you want to experience the full experience. But it is about the creator. The creator themselves should not have to censor their stuff on certain platforms because this is their creative right. It is a creative video game. And from that, consumers need to make a good decision, a informed decision, not just a guess decision, not just a wild decision, and play the game for what it is. If you're on a Sony platform and you do not want your kids to see this type of game, then don't purchase it. If you're on an Xbox platform and you don't want your kids to see this game, then don't purchase it. Or if you do purchase it, put a parent lock on it so that your kids don't actually play it. This is about the creative freedom of the developer. There should not be a platform, Sony in this case, there should not be a console manufacturer stopping them from utilizing that freedom.
Cicero, any last smaller thoughts? No monologue.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. I'll give you some smaller thoughts. All right. How about these smaller thoughts? All right. So the first thought is, you sat here and you were talking about how they, it's about the freedom of the creator, right? Well, here's some creative freedom. If you don't like the fact that Sony is going to censor your game on their platform, then don't allow it to be on their platform. But if you're going to allow it to be on their platform, then you got to play by their rules because it's their platform. And what they've chosen is to remain on that platform. So they're going to play by their rules. The other part of your argument was that you said, oh yeah, when Mortal Kombat 2 came to SNES, they decided to use blood and do all that other stuff because they lost out to Sega. And Sega pulled ahead, and you're absolutely correct. But guess what? We're not talking about Martha is dead again, right? We're talking about Martha is dead. She's not dead twice, right? This is the first game. So this is the choice that Sony is making on the first game. And if the game does well, and it does really well on Microsoft platform and not on the Sony platform, and a sequel comes out, and Sony may decide, oh well, you know what? Maybe we made a poor decision by censoring that game because people went and played that game over on the other console and not on our console. Just like you explained with Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 with Nintendo. Was that short and sweet enough for you?
That was good. I still think that Mike had just a little bit of an edge on you, even with that, unfortunately. It is the creative's right. It is the art form that the creator is making. And I feel like, yes, like Mike said, there should be a new level of rating if you are going that high. But I feel like Mike beat you on that one.
You can't get them all right. You got this one wrong. That's all right. Can't tell me what I can or can't do on my platform.
All right, we're going to go on to...
So I say Justin got it wrong, and you're like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But you say it.
Because he wasn't wrong that time. He's wrong this time.
But you say it, and it's censorship.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to go on to
the
the special round here. It is not a quick blind attack. It's just a normal blind attack given to us by a friend of the show, one of our co-hosts, soon to be back, Jelly.
Oh.
Now, inside baseball, Mike, you just turned 30, didn't you?
Yeah, don't tell people.
Sorry, but you just turned 30. So let's look at games that are just as old as you are. Link to the Past and the one we were just talking about, Mortal Kombat, both turned 30 this year. Which one is better? Cicero, you lost. First pick. And that's gonna be a struggle for this one.
Oh man, Mike, go first, man.
All right, I've never played Link to the Past, so I'm picking Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
All right, Cicero, you have the right to defend yours first.
I can decline that right.
If you would like to hand the torch over to Mike for the first defense, yes.
You know what? I'm going to keep it. So, Link to the Past is not only one of the most important games of all time, which is something that you can say about Mortal Kombat, what Mike will say about Mortal Kombat. But one thing that I can say about Link to the Past that Mike can't say about Mortal Kombat is that Link to the Past is one of the best games of all time. Right? In addition to being one of the most important games of all time, it is also one of the best games in its series, which is also something that Mike won't be able to say about Mortal Kombat. it, like Mortal Kombat, completely redefined its genre. And it is a standard bearer for any games that have come after it. And in terms of that being the measuring stick with which you can look and say, all right, it has hit this bar or it has approached this bar, that means the game is great. But if it's below that bar, it's okay. But if it's way below that bar, like, why is it even out? And that is something that is incredibly hard to accomplish, to be a game that is both that celebrated, that well regarded, and has held up as well and as long as it has.
All right, Mike.
Now, listeners, full disclosure, this is going to be an uphill battle because Link to the Past is one of Justin's favorite games of all time. And as you may be well aware, as far as this episode is concerned, apparently I'm just a guest, and I have to appeal to the judge/host. And so, here is my appeal. In the history of video games, there has quite possibly not been a bigger cultural phenomenon than Mortal Kombat. Arguably. Now, there's certainly stuff like Wii Sports, even the Switch. Even the Switch is a pretty heavy cultural phenomenon, especially in the pandemic with Animal Crossing. But Mortal Kombat was so huge. It not only, during this year, if we're talking about during the year that both these games came out, Mortal Kombat not only dominated the Super Nintendo, but it also dominated the Sega Genesis, and it also dominated arcades. And Cicero, you of all people should know this. It was very hard as a fighting game to dominate the arcades because a little old game was out and dominating the arcades already, and that was Street Fighter 2. And Mortal Kombat comes into the scene with this a little bit mature gaming style, fatalities, blood, guts, and just completely took the world by storm. And then you not only that, but you have the marketing campaign that brought it to consoles. You have Mortal Kombat Day. Mortal Kombat Monday is what they called it. Mm-hmm. And Mortal Kombat came to home consoles on a Monday. They called it Mortal Kombat Monday. Everybody was in line for a Super Nintendo copy. Everybody was in line for a Genesis copy. More people were in line for a Genesis copy because there was blood and guts and stuff like that. And it looked phenomenal on the Genesis as well. And Genesis also had a 6-button gamepad that just was phenomenal for fighting games in those early 90s. During the time, there was nothing more culturally significant than Mortal Kombat. And it took over the home. It took over arcades. Teenagers were lining up trying to get this mature game in their hands. And yeah, I mean, Link to the Past is phenomenal. Like, even though I haven't played it, even though I haven't beaten it, I know the impact that Link to the Past had on, on the gaming industry in general. My game of the year last year was Death's Door, and that is highly relatable to Link to the Past. But as far as significance goes, especially in the 90s, Mortal Kombat, there's like second to none. Mortal Kombat went to the Supreme Court. They went to the Supreme Court. Like, it was so big. It was phenomenal. Everybody wanted their hands on it. It was in the mouths of everybody. It was in the mouths of parents. Parents weren't talking about Link to the Past. Mortal Kombat was huge. I will give you that, Cicero. I will concede that. Mortal Kombat is not a better game than Link to the Past. But it is way more significant to gaming history.
Go ahead, Cicero.
You know, at this point in video game history, there were very few games that had received a third game in its series that wasn't a sports title or something silly. In fact, there were very few third games, period. But Legend of Zelda created a new genre. There wasn't even an adventure genre when Legend of Zelda came out, or actually even when Link to the Past released, they didn't really have a genre to put it in, but it was just there, and it was beyond comprehension that a franchise could continue to get better. And you're right. The teenagers were lining up to play this latest fad that was Mortal Kombat, right? Because it was new and exciting and taboo and all of those things. But it's remarkable that people still went out and sought out those same gamers that were playing Mortal Kombat with a 6-button controller on the Genesis. They also had 6 buttons on the Nintendo, on the SNES, so which is why Street Fighter was best on the SNES first, and better on the SNES than it was on the Genesis. But also, people were coming to Super Nintendo specifically to play Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It was just incredible and gave you more insight into Link than you had ever had before.
And then my last point on Mortal Kombat, and I'll give it to you, Justin, host, judge. Link to the Past, from what I can remember and, kind of see with my eyes, is that, yeah, it was certainly an advancement in level design and enemy design and stuff like that. But one of the things that Mortal Kombat introduced, and obviously what you see in today's video game medium, is photorealism. As much as you could do it in the 90s, sure, I understand that it's not going to be a one-to-one thing. But the fact that they actually motion captured actual people into the game and designed it that way, to create these caricatures that were actual human beings in the game, kind of brought a level of design that was not seen before. And so, yeah, Mortal Kombat, certainly, again, probably not a better game than Link to the Past. Link to the Past is monumental in Nintendo's, Mount Rushmore, really, like one can argue. But ultimately, so much gaming advancement with the motion capture and kind of photorealism and trying to do their best with that. But also, it was in the mind's eye of so many people and on the mouths and on the fingers of everybody playing, everybody talking about it. It was such a cultural phenomenon that Mortal Kombat was the biggest game of that year.
Cicero, I'm going to give you a chance for one quick rebuttal, and then I'll make my decision.
It was the biggest game of that year in the arcades, not at home. Never at home. It sold well on the Genesis, but did not sell better than Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which was, to date, a top 10 seller for the SNES at almost 4.7 million copies.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo only sold 1.5 million copies, the most copies of a Mortal Kombat game
All right.
on that console.
Mike, you said you had an uphill battle because Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda game. And Cicero did pick out of my hat with that. Well, you might have picked my favorite one, but I think Michael came at you with strategeries. And he said that he had an uphill battle, but I think he mirrored it. Just like viewers, Cicero, raise your left hand, please. for viewers, he is mirrored. So I think, Mike, you mirrored that mountain, and it fell right down onto Cicero. Mike, you won that.
Oh, thank you. I was surprised. And also, you guys are so funny because neither of you are mirrored in our video version.
No.
None of us are mirrored.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
I don't know. Video version. Watch for our comic relief. So that leaves the score at 2-2, which means we go into our bonus round of the Metacritic. The Metacritic score of the day. The game of choice comes from Warner Brothers Entertainment.
I don't think we can get rid of this guy.
Yeah. The game of choice is Lego Rock Band on the Xbox 360.
Oh my goodness.
That is the Metacritic score for Lego Rock Band on the Xbox 360.
And we are doing Price is Right rules.
Okay.
Mike, since you won, Cicero gets to say his number first.
Okay.
Whenever you are ready, you may speak. Mike, stop looking at your phone or changing your answer.
No, I'm not. I wrote it down.
Oh, okay.
The Metacritic score is 72.
All right.
81.
81. Unfortunately, Michael, you have lost. The answer was 71.
Wow!
Cicero won with a 72, and that leads us into our leaderboards. Cicero, the winner of the night, the Mafia Lord. Anything to say to your fans?
Oh man, it's tough being on the top.
I'm surprised it came back. I was not feeling arguing tonight, so.
Oh, you did a good job in those final rounds.
You did a good job.
Picked up from your tips overs.
I'm just saying, a Godzilla game where you can knock down buildings, Lego-fied?
I would love both of them. There is a Godzilla Lego set, I believe. I looked it up. So they do have the rights. Onto the leaderboard. Today we're talking Battle Royale games, which is kind of a curveball into our stories and different stuff today. Top Battle Royale type games or modes included in games. Mike, you lost, so go ahead.
Thanks. I don't know. Apex Legends.
All right.
I have no clue. Tetris 99.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And Fall Guys.
Oh my god. Fall Guys. Have you played Fall Guys?
No, but that string of Tim the Tatman trying to get a victory on Fall Guys is some of the funniest content I have ever watched.
Cicero, go ahead.
All right. PUBG.
Ooh, there we go.
Warzone. And the granddaddy of them all.
Don't you dare!
Right?
Don't you dare! You don't even play it.
No, let Justin say it. He's actually loves it.
Oh, do you actually play it?
Yeah, he
okay.
actually
Well,
been playing it.
Oh, all right. Well, then if you actually play it, then I'll leave that one for you. I will go with.
I've got other options if you want to take it. It's fine.
No. I'm gonna go with something else. I'm gonna go with like DayZ.
DayZ. That's come back recently, I believe.
Yeah.
My picks are going to be Fortnite. Mike took my Apex. So
Fortnite Battle Royale.
Yeah. Technically now it just takes you straight into the lobby. They updated it so there's no more choosing your stuff.
There's no more Save the World?
Well, you can go to it if you back out of the lobby that it puts you in automatically.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm going to go with the Black Ops 4 Warzone prequel called Blackout. Mike and I used to play that nonstop back in the day.
I totally forgot that.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
I like that
awesome.
way more than Warzone. I'm not a fan of Warzone. And then I'm going to go with Pac-Man 99.
Okay.
If I could type today. All right. Mike, your must-have.
It's Apex.
You sure?
Apex is a must-have.
Yeah, why'd you take it off the... It was already at number 1, listeners. Justin had put it in the leaderboard.
You got to be fair. He could have picked something else.
Oh, yeah, right, sure.
I got to give him his choice. Go ahead, Cicero. What do you got?
Yeah, for me, it'll be the one that introduced me to the genre, and that's PUBG.
Okay, and for me, I'm going to... You guys would never fight for Fortnite, so I'm going to have to put it on the list because... well, Cicero, you were going to put it on your list. Maybe you will fight for it.
I mean, to be honest,
will you fight into the Fortnite?
Is there really going to be a Battle Royale list without Fortnite? Like, even though I don't play it, I understand its significance.
All right, I'll put it on there just so we have other options that we can fight over. What else are we looking at?
I like Fall Guys as kind of this. You know, it's a battle royale ish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
And you know, like adding that game show element of it to it is great. So
it's also
Fall Guys
kid friendly and a unique
and not only
kind of
kid friendly, but another thing, like, even though it lasted maybe a month, like it was culturally significant as well.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
So
it's like Among Us.
It was deep in the zeitgeist.
It was a short term.
Yeah, it was
battle royale.
It was deep in the zeitgeist. Yes.
And we got one left. I'm down for either Blackout or Warzone. I personally didn't like Warzone that much, but Blackout was phenomenal. The balancing was just on point with Blackout.
Yeah, I mean, I never played it, but yeah, if you guys both had an affinity for it,
I could take Warzone or Blackout. I can do either or. To me,
I'm gonna argue for Blackout.
You sure?
Because
nothing else is calling you out.
Yeah, well, no, because you know what, I like you, Justin, and you have definite feelings about Blackout over Warzone, so
that's true.
I'll trust your judgment.
All right, and that holds it then. That wasn't as tooth and nail, or what is it, nail in the knife?
Yes,
nail in the
dagger.
Nail in the dagger, right, I remember this.
Right.
I remember that being said initially.
PUBG, like, speaking of Lost Ark, Cicero?
Yes.
Because I was looking at the concurrent Steam numbers, and PUBG has never been beaten. It's still at 3.5 million concurrent players at its peak. It was insane.
They are doing. I just jumped back into it with my son. My son is actually really, really good at PUBG, and I was playing with him. It is a much more accessible game than it was. It has gotten a lot more polished. The graphics are a lot better. There's, it's much more dynamic and diverse than it had been before. And I think they've gone free to play, or it is free to play, or something to that.
Yeah.
And it's cross platform and all that other stuff. So everybody can play with everybody. They did a good job with bots. And I think it has kind of fallen off the radar of the cheats. So there aren't a lot of cheaters in the game as much anymore. So you can have really good experiences. Great game. Great game. PUBG.
For sure.
So our list goes in no particular order: Apex Legends, PUBG, Fortnite, Fall Guys, and the Black Ops 4 Blackout mode. And this has been our show. Cicero, the winner tonight. See you next week. Test your might. Remember to follow, subscribe, like it, give us our stars, and hit all those buttons. See you next week, guys. Bye.